Joining me now, Gabe Moore. He is the co-director of franchise coaches at Seven Brew, which is on a remarkable growth trajectory. Gabe, thank you so much for being with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Tell me a little bit about your story with Seven Brew, and maybe even before Seven Brew. How did you, what have you kind of done in your career, and how did you land at Seven Brew?
Yeah, sure. So it's kind of a funny story, actually. The original founder had met my now wife at the time, it was girlfriend, but she was a vendor in Home Depot's actually, and with the construction and the modular buildings, right? So there was a lot of power tools being sold, and she was a power tool vendor. And met the original founder, and he was like, "Hey, I love your energy. You seem charismatic, enthusiastic," and gave her his business card, and she's pretty awesome. I will say so myself. So she had me tag along, and we ended up meeting the kind of original family. And since then it got purchased by a new group, and we've been very close with those individuals as well. And we started at the beginning, you know, just baristas, and we worked our way up to shift leads and managers and regional managers, and sometimes you wear 5 to 6 to 7 different hats. It's a quickly growing company, obviously. And we both started when we had 7 locations, and now we're at 250 as of 2 days ago. So a lot of growth and a lot of changes, all positive and moving the right direction. But that's kind of the story. And it's just funny how things work out that way. It's the right place, right time situation.
Yeah. Tell me why Seven Brew customers and employees are as loyal as they are. That's one of the trademarks that I've witnessed just as an observer.
Yeah, no, it's a really good question. I think, speaking from the internal team, I think the culture is extremely infectious and addicting, right? And, it obviously helps. Our drinks are, caffeinated, right? Majority of them. We do have smoothies, shakes, Italian sodas, things like that that are not caffeinated, but everybody needs a little jolt of energy. It's addicting in that sense from the customer side, but for me it's the culture, and I think for the customers it's also the culture. Obviously we are extremely customizable. We have over 20,000 drink combinations you can do, right? And that's part of it too. The customers have that ability to mix and match and try different things, milk alternatives, sugar-free options. And I think that's part of the loyalty as well, because they know they have that ability when they come through the line. And who doesn't want to come through and have a quick drive through experience where it's extremely positive and you have a real human to human interaction? I think that's also a big part of our loyal customer base as well.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, you're not talking into a speaker box like you do at most drive-throughs. There's a person that comes out with an iPad and actually, takes your order and interacts with you, engages with you while the drink's being made. And maybe talk a little bit about that balance of culture, and how you guys find the right employees or instill that in employees. And then how do you also kind of balance that with the operations? You got to turn those drinks fast. People don't want to sit there 20 minutes and wait
Yeah,
for their coffee. So,
absolutely. Right. So, and you hit the nail on the head right there. I think, operationally, that's where I focus majority of my efforts. Obviously, we do some marketing and deal with supply chain and different things here and there, but primarily operationally focused. So whenever we do our training, it's huge to make sure people are moving very quickly, but at the same time, you want to be efficient with your movements. You don't want to knock things over, be out of control, right? So it's smooth and controlled, but also fast. So training is a huge portion of what we do in terms of the quickness, making the actual beverages and our testing with the recipes and things like that. But at the same time, you don't want to rush a customer out, right? So there's this balance. If you're at the lane table or if you're taking an order, we call them texters because you're texting in the order, right? So if you're out there, you don't want to say, "Hey, what can I get started for you?" Okay, sounds great. It'll be $5 at the window, right? That's not like that genuine of an interaction, and it almost can be, "Oh wow, they're trying to rush me out." But if I'm respectful and I have a great conversation that's very brief, and I get you on your way with the beverage that you desire and that you ordered and curated yourself, I think there is a fine balance there, and that's something that we have to preach continuously whenever we do our training. And I will say our training program is very robust and regimented, so that way we have the ability to have that balance, like you mentioned.
Give me a little, just a flavor of what the training is like. What does somebody come to you? Do you do everything on location? How long does it last? How intense is it?
I would say it's pretty intense because we do have, I kind of alluded to it. There's so many combinations and flavors and iterations of the same beverage, even. So it gets pretty in depth and rigorous, I would say. So you work a certain amount of shifts, anywhere from 7 to 10 shifts that can range in time from, 3 to 7 hours. And we end up administering a test. And, before people really get in the stand, they have to know their flavors and the recipes and all of those different things before we get into a more intense test that kind of asks situational things as well. But we like to do a lot hands on, and we call it, hip to hip, one on one, right? Just classic, we're going to jam together and I'm going to teach you and show you the right way to do it. We're just really big on showing people. It's really easy to tell someone to do something, but if you're in the trenches with them and truly showing them the right way to do something, I think that's typically received better and it'll help people progress quicker. So it's a pretty intense program, but once you get through that, it's, you still learn every day, right? We're always learning as people in general, but especially in the workforce. So I would say you continue to learn and grow, but I'm a big fan of our training program. It's a lot, but it's well worth it.
It sounds like you've probably helped develop it. I'm not going to ask you how many coffees or drinks that you've made over the course of your career at Seven Brew. It's
I've lost
probably in the
count.
millions, I'm sure. So,
Yes.
but tell me a little bit too, and just it's more from a business end of things. From you guys are franchising at a really rapid rate. You mentioned less almost 300 stores. You're certainly going to hit that pretty soon. What's the process from locating where you're going to put an operation to actually opening? How long is that process, and kind of what goes into all of that and working with your franchisors?
Yeah, no, good question. I think a lot of it depends on our real estate team. So we have a very well built out group of individuals that have a lot of experience in not only the QSR space, but just the commercial business space in general. And identifying the right site is huge, right? You don't want to open a stand that's in the woods, right? And that's a silly example, but you want to have good visibility. You want to be, easy to enter, easy to exit, ingress, egress. That's a huge part of it. You want to have people be part of the show. If you're at a stoplight, a hard corner is always great. Just different things like that. Your vehicles per day, does that make sense? If there's only a couple thousand cars a day, it's like, well, maybe this isn't the greatest area. So it gets pretty granular. Our real estate team does a really, really good job, and they identify those sites prior to getting through the development and construction phase. And then that's where I kind of come in and help operationally get them to where they need to go. So a lot of work to be done on the front end. It can take a year, 2 years, 3 years, depending on the city in the jurisdiction you're in. And, there's all kinds of different city codes and hoops to jump through. And, they, a lot of the cities make it really fun to open up, but we find a way to get through, and then we find the sites that are winners, and that's where we'll put shovel in the dirt and get rolling.
Tell me, what is the vision for where Seven Brew is going, and just kind of what are some of the challenges you're going to face in meeting that vision?
Yeah, I think just growth in general is always a challenge. There's a lot of stands to open. There's a lot of locations that have been sold to our really awesome franchise partners so far. I think we're north of 3,000, 3,500 units sold. So that's kind of where we're going, right, domestically. And who knows in the future if we venture out and want to go across the pond either direction or north or south, and we kind of go from there and go into other countries and such. I mean, I think we're a ways away from that, but it's never out of the question, right? So I think that's kind of a little taste of where we're going. And right now we're 250 if we have, 2750 to go, right? So that's a challenge. It's a challenge. It takes an army. There's a lot of openings to go, and a big part of that is getting started on the right foot. And do we get out in the community and show people who we are and deliver some beverages to them, let them know that they're appreciated. Hey, we don't need anything for this. We just want to spread love and kindness and come check us out when we're open, right? So that's a big part of it. And nailing the new store opening portion is huge, and getting the stands open on time and um, on the date that we're expected to open. It's big time. You know, there's construction delays all the time, and we also have a really robust development team now, and so we're just making strides as a company in all departments, operationally, real estate, construction, marketing, the whole thing, and takes a team, you know. But there are challenges for sure.
All right, Gabe Moore, co-director of franchise coaches for Seven Brew, based in Northwest Arkansas, Fayetteville, is the home headquarters, correct?
That's right. Yep, I'm actually at our headquarters right now off of College Ave.
All right. Gabe, thanks so much for spending time with us. I appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.